Hi everyone, I hope you're good guy. Welcome to a new video. So today we're gonna talk about the Kick Lancet from Vermona, and you might wonder why would I review this now that is quite an old machine. Well, as a techno producer, I'm always kind of obsessed with kick drum and always trying to find new or different way to create my kick drum. And this is one of the rare hardware options that you have. You always have the M-Bass from Jomox, but we're gonna cover that next week. I already knew about this machine, but never really jumped into it because first, I'm more like an in-the-box guy, and second, to be honest, was quite expensive because it just does one job, is making kick drum, and so it costs almost 300 euro. So is it really worth it? So that's what we're gonna try to find out today, because I'm pretty sure there is plenty of people like me who was like kind of hesitating, is it really worth it? Can I still use this kind of kick in nowadays production? Because it's quite raw analog kicks, so we're gonna cover all that. I was curious as well to know how it sounds with effect, because kick with effect kind of always react differently. You can have two kind of similar kick but completely reacting differently with the same kind of effect. So we're gonna cover that as well. So let's have a look at the parameters. So you have this trick button, which is really handy because it doesn't need any MIDI. If you wanna just shape your kick, you know, and you can straight away use it, and you can hold for 3 seconds and it will loop. You can even tap tempo and choose your own tempo basically. You can obviously sequence it by MIDI. That's what I'm gonna do it in Ableton. And so the first parameter is the decay. So usually I never go more than 12 o'clock because then after it's more like for kind of hip-hop 808, I would say, style of bass, but for techno or dance music, if you want more like kind of sharp kick. Then you have your pitch. So this is a bit of shame because it goes super up, which is nice if you want to create tom or other kind of percussion. But to be fair, I will always go from like 7 o'clock until, let's say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I will always go in this range. So it would have been nicer if they like kind of reduce the range to have a bit more precision, but yeah. So here what I usually recommend is opening Ableton Spectrum or the tuner, and you can fine tune the kick you want to the pitch you want. So you can see it's quite, if I want to G, it's quite hard to fine tune. I will go like this. Then you have bend, which is basically the amount of pitch modulation you want to apply to your kick. So if you wonder how a kick is made, it's basically a waveform. You can use any kind of waveform. Usually it's a sine wave, and you apply a very strong pitch envelope modulation. So bend is how much of this modulation you want to be applied. And basically how it works is you have your root note, and the pitch modulation is gonna make your pitch go up and down in a very fast way. So how far you want, how up you want your pitch to go, it's set with the bend. So if you check the spectrum, you can see you have this note here with, if I go down, the top knob here is going down. So, and time basically, so your envelope is going very fastly at the maximum. So this you cannot change it, but then the time that it go back to the root note, the original pitch, is decided by time. So the higher you have the time, the longer it takes. So you can see again in the spectrum that if I go with a big bend, you can see it's going very fast, rather than here. You see, let me actually press like this. You can see how slow it goes, rather than here. It goes straight away to back to the root note. So basically pitch, bend, and time are all of them very tight together. That means like they really depend of each other. But I will come back to that later, how I like to set them. Then you have FM frequency and FM intensity. So you can add FM modulation. and the FM frequency. So that's nice to add a bit of character. I will show you later on with some effect. So this way you can really hear how it works, because it's kind of hard to really hear and to really see the full potential of this without any effect. Then you have attack, which is gonna add a kind of click at the beginning of your kick. So no click, click, and then you have noise. We add a bit of noise. So that I found it a bit useless, but in the manual they say that when you listen to your kick solo, it's kind of hard to really understand why it's there, but when you put your kick in the whole mix, it kind of makes sense because it kind of helps your kick cut through the mix basically. So it's here again, you have like a very wide range of level rather than you probably gonna never go more than that. But yeah, and then you have wave, so you can go from a sine wave to a more square waveform. So that's open to a lot of different sonic possibility. That's already without effects sounding not that bad. And then you have balls, which is kind of boosting the low frequency and kind of reducing the frequency in the high as well, it looks like. And then you have volume. So it's so you see, for example, bend and time. If you want something more punchy, you bring the time more up. If you want more classic kick, bring around 11 o'clock. And bend will always anyway add a bit more punch. But yeah, it's to be honest, when I first listen, I say, okay, it sounds pretty good, raw. But then after, when you put in your mix or when you compare with other track, you realize that it's kind of missing something. And I say, okay, let's try to process it. So I'm gonna add this Ableton chain that I've made. I will put the link in the description. You can grab it for free. It's just with Ableton stock plugin. Now that's without, and that's with, and it just takes the machine to another dimension. And I must confess that even if I am in the box guy, the way how this machine reacts, like when you add effects, it's way much better than any of the in the box plugin or even the Ableton DS kick that I love. I don't know. This machine reacts when you add some effect, like the punch of this machine is quite incredible. And then after you can just play. Yeah, so usually what I like to do with bend and time, it's depend obviously what kind of kick you want. If you want more like a 808 kick, and you can, so see, the more I go here, the more I have punch, and I always find parameter these two together. Important things, adding a bit of attack. This first, it sounds nice. Second, it will make you kick stand up in the mix. But then, I don't know. Nice punchy kick already. And then if you want more character, use the wave. And so yeah, let's talk about a little bit the FM one. Let's add a bit of, the way I like to use it, I will crank up the FM amount to the maximum, or like, let's say not maximum, but let's say here. And then after, I will play with the FM frequency and see, like, use the FM frequency as if you was tuning two oscillator. Imagine you have like two oscillator, you wanna tune them to the same note. You will always have to shift to slightly detune or tune to kind of be both of them synchronized, kind of. And it's the same with this. You can see, like, you want this, here, and then it really adds character. And even more if you add, for example, a bit of overdrive. It adds this little extra. And for example, add a bit of rumble. And add a bit of pretty powerful machine, and you can see how it reacts differently now that I have a bit of overdrive. Let's say you want maybe a more classic. Let me remove the overdrive. If you want more like kind of 808 kick. So yeah, always being gentle with any parameter, because this is something I often do, and a huge mistake when you have a parameter that you can go from that way until that way, you usually, when you turn, like go a little bit too fast, and sometimes you miss a lot of sweet spots, and that's why I really recommend to be very gentle, especially with the bend and time. So yeah, I could literally play with that. A lot, and that's something that I cannot get with Ableton, even if I try. Like, it's not that you cannot get punchy kick or stuff like that, but it's just like the way how the machine react, how the sound react when you apply effect. It's crazy compared to any other source inside Ableton, or I think any other plugin. It's just like you get this punch, which is something maybe you're not looking for, but if you are looking for this kind of punchy stuff, it's quite incredible. And again, one thing is you can put this effect chain, but you can always change different kind of effect. For example, here there is not the overdrive, but if I add the overdrive, remove the saturator, leave the jumbers, but then you have this. noise, when you add noise here, you can see that it's not as weird that without the, when it's not solo. When it's solo, kind of sounding weird. But then you see the track. Even add a bit of transient. Yeah, I'm gonna play a couple of kicks that I've made with when I was experimenting, and just to give you an idea how it sounds. So you can get stuff like this. But yeah, I really love this machine. So now to the question, is it worth it? Well, the only drawback of this machine is obviously the price. But on the other hand, it's a very nice machine with its own character. And to be fair, I always like to compare with software kind of plugin and stuff like that. And that's what I was talking about, putting effect on it. And I really want to emphasize this, because you will make a kick with that and you will be like, okay, this kick is not that wow. And you will make a kick with your software plugin, or you're going to say, okay, this kick is amazing. Then you're going to start to add effect on both. And when you're going to try to take the best of your kick, like by adding distortion, saturation, obviously kick always reacts very differently. And the way this machine reacts to effect, it's incredible. Like you can really like take the sound to another level, rather than this is way much more harder on the soft plugin. I don't know how to explain that. And you know that I really love in-the-box plugin and stuff like that. But when you start to process the signal, what's coming out of this machine is just incredible. And the fact that you have one knob per function, and the fact as well that everything which is coming out of this machine sounds good, that's pretty crazy. And in my opinion, it's totally worth it, because if you think about it, this is something I'm gonna keep. This is first something super original. Second, it's fun to play because you have one knob per function. Third, I will always keep it. Every time you can just change the kind of effect chain, the machine will react differently. It was created 10 years ago and it was sounding good 10 years ago, so I have absolutely no doubt that in 10 years it will still sound good and I will still be using it. So yeah, for me it's totally worth it. If you like this kind of rap punchy kick, I can't recommend it enough, to be honest. And yeah, that was my opinion. I hope you like this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.